CASSIUS IFL TV, MTK Global. We're in Las Vegas here. Adam Smith is on a bit of a time restraint here because he's one and only Liverpool FC are taking on a small matter of Barcelona very shortly. So we're going to keep this kind of short and sweet.
And it's difficult. It's the same time as the press conference. But fortunately, we've done interviews with Daniel Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez, and we're trying to do two things at once. But yeah, a massive game for the Reds tonight.
Absolutely. Right. First of all, Andy Ruiz finally confirmed as an opponent June the 1st against Anthony Joshua. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Listen. I mean, he's not, Jarrell Miller failing the drugs test was a disappointment, let's be honest. I wanted Luis Ortiz to step in. It didn't happen. There was a whole list of other fighters, your likes of Michael Hunter and Adam Kownacki and Trevor Bryant was mentioned. But I think of all of them, Andy Ruiz has the most experience. I think he's got the fastest hands. I think he's got a warrior's heart. It's difficult at 4.5 weeks' notice. It's hard for Anthony Joshua to have to fight a different style. But I think in Andy Ruiz, he's got someone that's going to come and try everything he can to win the world heavyweight title. He's been narrowly defeated by Parker. He's coming off a decent win the other night. Aesthetically, he doesn't look great. We know that. But that doesn't tell the story. I'm talking to a lot of American press over here who think it's actually a really good fight, and certainly at short notice. He'll bring the heat, he'll bring the steam, and it'll be interesting to see how AJ copes with someone who's smaller. But I think in terms of style, he was training for Jarrell Miller, who's orthodox and quick, and I think it's the best replacement that it could possibly be. So yeah, I'm happy with Andy Ruiz. As I said, Luis Ortiz would have been better, but I think at 4 or 5 weeks' notice to change to southpaw, to take on a dangerous man like Luis Ortiz was probably a silly decision, and they couldn't get Ortiz anyway. So Andy Ruiz stepped up to the plate. Andy Ruiz it is, and as AJ says, the show goes on, and it's a tough challenge in front of him, but one obviously he should get through.
What are your thoughts on obviously Eddie Hearn revealing that the offers made to Luis Ortiz's team, the first offer of $6 million, the second offer of $7 million, and then Ortiz's team coming out after saying that they've been lowballed to say actually it was our fault? Why wouldn't Ortiz take that fight in your opinion?
I think Ortiz probably would have taken the fight. I don't know. Look, he's looked after by Al Heyman. Maybe they've got different ideas for him. Maybe he's going to fight Deontay Wilder after Wilder fights Brazil. Maybe there's other plans. Maybe he wasn't fight fit. There's a lot of things. I'm not privy to some of those conversations, KUGAN. I just said, when I talked to AJ in training last week, I said, who do you want to fight? He said, line him up, I'll fight anyone. I'll fight Wilder, I'll fight Fury, I'll fight... He doesn't mind. But he just wanted an opponent. He said, get it sorted and get it done. We talked about Ruiz. Ruiz, as I said, he doesn't look the best, but actually that doesn't tell the whole story. He's got experience. He's not. Right. He's a good fighter. He's decent. It's a decent challenge, this, at short notice. So I think Ruiz is the perfect one because of the fact that he was preparing for an orthodox fighter like Jarrell Miller. And although I think, in many ways Ortiz would have set a bit of a statement, they couldn't make the Ortiz deal done. And I think, Rob and AJ were right that probably a southpaw at this short notice was not the right thing to do. Have a proper camp for Luis Ortiz, and in comes the most worthy challenge they could find, which is Andy Ruiz. He's coming off a win. He's fit. He wants it. He's got nothing to lose. It's a great opportunity. He's going to bring Mexican fans to the Garden. It'll be a lot of fun, and I think that it will be exciting while it lasts, and I think that's what we want. Will he win? I mean, listen, if Anthony Joshua slips up to Andy Ruiz, that's a disaster, isn't it? Obviously, he's the world heavyweight champion. He's got huge ambitions, not to get that final unification against Deontay Wilder, to fight Tyson Fury. If he slips up against Andy Ruiz, it will be awful. But we've seen this heavyweight boxing through the years. So many slip-ups. When Lennox Lewis got done by Oliver McCall and by Hasim Ratman, no one would have predicted that. Carlos Takam came in at 10 days' notice and gave it everything. He wasn't good enough on the night to, Joshua dealt with the situation. It wasn't AJ's best performance. And, he's got to go to New York. He's got the pressure of fighting away from home. It's American debut. It's in the Garden. It's something different for him. He's got the pressure on his shoulders and he's got to deliver. I'm sure he will. But I'm sure Andy Ruiz will give it absolutely everything he can to try and become world heavyweight champion. What a story that would be. Unlikely, but what a story and what a chance he's got.
Just one more question. You had the press conference the other day for Dylan White against Oscar Rivas, which obviously Barry Hearn was rolling back the years.
Yeah.
Barry Hearn said a couple of things in there about the pay-per-view situation and kind of caught people's eye about, you know, if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. And kind of people kind of took that a certain way, even though Barry was just kind of giving his honest opinion. He also made this comment about this slave trade thing that people have picked up on, but you were sat right there. How did you kind of take those comments sitting there next to him?
Listen, Barry's from a different generation. He came before Eddie. You know, he basically said what he said. He believes that boxing's in a great place. Look, the point he was making was the fact that, you know, the fighters of yesteryear were looked after by promoters, and they didn't really have the power and maybe the ability to make quite as much money. I know Anthony Joshua, you know, owns his shows, and he decides he takes the risks on you know, the undercard and the success of the show, and Dillian Whyte's done exactly the same sort of model. So I think what Barry was obviously talking about was the fact that fighters have more. There's a better way than now that they can make money and they can run their shows. That's all it was.
People love to spin this sort of stuff and turn it into something it's completely not as well.
And it's not, and there's nothing else about that. You know, Dillian Whyte said to me afterwards, "What a great press conference that was." You know, I think he enjoyed listening to Barry, and you know, you get Eddie, and Barry came out and did his bit, and he's different. You know, he's the original promoter. He's the one that built Matchroom. He's done phenomenally well with everything he's touched really over the years, whether it's ping pong or darts or the boxing. And Eddie's come in and done the boxing. I think people are used to Eddie running the press conferences. Barry came in and did one, and yeah, look, I think people in the room, you know, enjoyed it and saw it for what it was. It was Barry back and talking about boxing, and it was good. But I think to read stuff into that is silly, because you know he was obviously making a point that it was that fighters have more ability now to make more money. It's a great time for them, and if they can run their shows, it's better than the promoters doing it. I think, wasn't Barry used by Nassim Hamid back in the day as a sort of promoter rather than the other way round? And I think that's where it started turning. And I think, listen, for us, if the fighters can make the most amount of money, they're the ones taking the risks. That's the important point to come out of it. You know, Dillian Whyte against Oscar Rivas is a really good fight. David Allen and David Price on the card is great. And I think, Barry was just making those points.
Adam, 7 minutes, bang on. Good luck against Barcelona.
Thanks, KUGAN. Thank you. Cheers.